2061 Odyssey 3 Space Odyssey #3 by Arthur C. Clarke. The Quest for Redemption. Dr. Heywood Floyd sat in the observation lounge of the spaceship Universe, his gaze fixed on the vast expanse of stars streaming past the viewport like diamonds on black velvet. The soft hum of the ship's engines was a comforting background to his thoughts, a reminder that he was finally taking steps to make amends for his past mistakes. He was on his way to witness Halley's Comet, a journey he hoped would bring a new sense of purpose to his life.
"Grandpa, are you thinking about the comet?"
asked Chris, his grandson, breaking the silence. Floyd turned and smiled at the young boy. "Yes, Chris. I'm thinking about how this mission might help me fix some of the mistakes I've made." He paused, collecting his thoughts before continuing. "I've been distant, Chris. Distant from our family, from your father, and even from myself. I let my obsession with science consume me, and it cost me precious relationships." Chris sat beside him, his eyes wide with curiosity. "Like what?" Floyd sighed, the weight of his past heavy on his shoulders. "I missed birthdays, holidays, and milestones. I prioritized my research over family gatherings and important events. Your father grew up without a present father figure, and for that I'm truly sorry." He looked away, struggling to contain his emotions. Chris put a comforting hand on his grandfather's. "But you're here now, with me. That's what matters." Floyd nodded, grateful for the boy's understanding. "I want to make things right, starting with this mission. Halley's Comet. It's not just a ball of ice and dust. It's a symbol of new beginnings, a chance for me to redeem myself and find forgiveness." As they sat in contemplative silence, the door hissed open, and Captain Laplace entered the lounge. "Dr. Floyd, we're approaching the comet's orbit. It's time to prepare for the rendezvous." The transition from introspection to action was jarring but necessary. Floyd stood up, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation as he followed Captain Laplace to the command deck. The central area of the command deck was abuzz with activity as crew members monitored control panels and screens, displaying data on the ship's systems and external surroundings. Captain Laplace took her seat in the captain's chair, surrounded by her crew, while Floyd strapped himself into the pilot's seat. "Dr. Floyd, we're on course. For the final approach," Captain Laplace continued, her voice echoing with authority and calm. "The comet's nucleus is now within our grasp. Floyd's heart raced as he watched the celestial body grow larger in the viewport. The comet's surface was a tapestry of brilliant whites and deep blacks, its craters and ridges casting long shadows in the stark sunlight. It was a silent symphony of light and darkness, a frozen world untouched by time. The universe's thrusters fired in short, controlled bursts, slowing the ship to match the comet's trajectory. Floyd could feel the slight shudder through his seat, a tangible connection to the ship's delicate dance with gravity. "Thrusters at minimal. We're gliding in," announced the pilot, his hands moving deftly over the controls. Floyd's mind was awash with memories and regrets, but as he gazed upon Halley's Comet, those thoughts were replaced by a sense of wonder. This was a moment of convergence, where his personal quest for redemption met the grandeur of the cosmos. The probes, now laden with samples, returned to the universe's embrace. The data they carried would unlock secrets of the solar system's past, but for Floyd, they held the key to a more personal discovery. As the universe pulled away from the comet, Floyd felt a chapter of his hit. Unlikely alliance. Dr. Hessenstein stood in his office, a model of the solar system sitting in the center of the room. He was preparing to share his vision for space exploration with someone who shared his passion. The lights dimmed and the stars and planets of the cosmos came alive above him as he narrated humanity's quest to understand the universe. After the presentation, Dr. Hessenstein's eyes reflected the same fire that burned in his guests. "I have been waiting for someone who shares my passion for space exploration," he said. "I believe our collaboration could lead to groundbreaking advancements." His guest nodded enthusiastically. "I'm willing to invest whatever it takes to make it happen. Let's push the boundaries of space travel and exploration." Dr. Hessenstein's face lit up with excitement. "I'd like that. Together, we can achieve the impossible." Their meeting would change the course of history, but for now, it was a secret known only to the two men who had dared to dream big. The two visionaries, driven by their shared ambition, embarked on a journey that would take them beyond the confines of Earth. Their collaboration faced challenges and opposition, but their determination remained unwavering. They dreamed of a future where humanity would not just survive, but thrive among the stars. This secret alliance marked the beginning of a new era, one that promised remarkable advancements in space exploration. As they worked together, their individual expertise and unwavering passion fueled breakthroughs that would shape the destiny of space travel. Convergence. Dr. Heywood Floyd, accompanied by Sir Lawrence Tsung and Dr. Hessenstein, discussed the potential of their upcoming mission. "The scientific discoveries on Europa could redefine our understanding of biology," Dr. Hessenstein remarked, his voice filled with anticipation. "Imagine uncovering organisms that challenge the very definition of life as we know it." Sir Lawrence, with a strategic mindset, added, "And think of the moon, not just as a base for research, but as a hub for interstellar commerce. A university there could pioneer new industries and technologies." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent transmission. "Captain Smith to Dr. Floyd, we've received a distress call from the galaxy. They're requesting immediate assistance." A wave of concern washed over Dr. Floyd as he recognized his grandson's voice, filled with panic. "Grandpa, the Bund has hijacked us. They're forcing us to Europa. You must help us." The gravity of the situation was clear. Dr. Floyd, Sir Lawrence, and Dr. Hessenstein exchanged a look of resolve. "Our mission has taken on a new urgency," Dr. Floyd declared. "We must save Chris and protect Europa from the Bund's exploitation." With determination, they prepared to alter their course. The journey to Europa was no longer just a quest for knowledge. It was a daring venture into the unknown, a race against time to thwart the Bund's nefarious plans. As the universe veered off its charted path, the comet's tail faded into the distance, and Europa loomed ever closer. The crew braced for the challenges that awaited them. The convergence on Europa was not just a meeting of paths, but of destinies, as the secrets of the monolith and the fate of humanity intertwined in the cold expanse of space. The adventure was, indeed, just beginning. Emotions and curiosity. In the valley of the comet, a surreal landscape unfolded before the crew. Unlike the moon's gentle plains, the comet's surface was a chaotic tapestry of spidery formations and rock piles, constantly reshaped by solar fires. The crew in their spacesuits navigated this alien terrain, establishing a network of cables that connected their scientific instruments back to the ship. With specialized tools in hand, they carefully collected samples of the comet's pepper and salt surface, fragile crusts of carbon compounds mixed with snow and ice. Victor Willis, the youngest among them, marveled at the snow's glitter under his flashlight, a sight that brought a triumphant smile to Dr. Floyd's face. "We're making history here, folks," he declared. Their mission was multifaceted, studying geysers, collecting samples, and conducting experiments. The crew's enthusiasm was palpable, each discovery fueling their scientific fervor. However, the day's exploration wasn't without its concerns. Captain Smith, noticing tar-like stains on the airlock walls, called for a halt to the leisurely strolls, prioritizing the crew's safety. The intrigue deepened with the discovery of Lake Tuonela, a pitch-like substance and the strange formations within a cave explored by Dr. Chant. These findings prompted both excitement and caution among the crew. As they regrouped on the ship, Dr. Floyd held a snowball, its ebony surface reflecting flashes of light. "We've gathered snow from Halley's Comet," he announced proudly. And for a moment, we created our own comet, hurling it towards the stars. The crew erupted in cheers, their emotions a blend of joy, wonder, and an unquenchable thirst for discovery. As the celebration died down, the crew's attention turned to the instruments that lined the valley. The spider's web of cables they had established allowed them to monitor the comet's behavior closely. "The geysers are more active than we anticipated," noted the deputy chief astronomer, peering at the data on his tablet. "Let's use this opportunity to learn as much as we can," suggested Pendrell, his eyes gleaming with scientific fervor. The crew split into groups, each tasked with a different study. Victor Willis joined Pendrell on a jet sled zipping across the comet's surface to collect pre-packaged samples. As the day turned to night, the comet's surface transformed. The darkness brought a new perspective, and the crew watched in silence as the stars shone brighter than ever before. "It's like a whole new world," murmured Lee, one of the crew members. The hijacking. The galaxy, once a symbol of human ambition, now drifted, commandeered by Rosie McCullen. Her betrayal was not born of a moment's madness, but a calculated alliance with the Bund, forged in the shadows of her past. As a young engineer, Rosie had stumbled upon a Bund operative's plea during a routine communication sweep. The message spoke of a new order, one that promised to elevate those who served it. Seduced by the allure of power, Rosie had secretly pledged herself to their cause. In the silence of her quarters, Rosie's thoughts often wandered back to that fateful day. The Bund had promised her a position of influence, a chance to shape the future. But as she gazed upon the faces of her unsuspecting crewmates, a pang of guilt would sometimes surface, quickly suppressed by the conviction that she was part of something greater. The crew, once preoccupied with the search for hidden radios and clues, now faced a more pressing task. Captain Laplace, recognizing the futility of their prior efforts, redirected their focus to securing the ship's vital systems and preserving what control they had left. "We must adapt," he declared, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Rosie's actions have shown us that our mission is about more than exploration. It's about survival." As the crew rallied to his call, the Olith, an ancient force that had guided the evolution of life throughout the cosmos, stirred in the depths of Europa's subsurface ocean. It sensed the turmoil on the galaxy, a ripple in the fabric of the universe. The crew, unaware of the monolith's presence, struggled to comprehend the true nature of their predicament. Meanwhile, the Bund, masters of manipulation, orchestrated the hijacking from the shadows, their ultimate goal: to harness the secrets of Europa and bend the monolith's power to their will. Rescue mission. The control room of the universe was a hive of urgent activity, the air crackling with tension as Dr. Haywood Floyd and Captain Smith stood huddled over a holographic map of Europa. "We have to act fast," Floyd said, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "My grandson is down there along with the rest of the Galaxy crew." Captain Smith nodded, her eyes scanning the topography. The crash site is located in the Terra Macula region, one of the smooth plains near the equator marked by crisscrossing fissures and ridges. "It's the best place for a landing, but the terrain is treacherous, riddled with unpredictable seismic shifts." Floyd's brow furrowed. "What about the Bund? They're the reason we're in this mess." Smith's lips pressed into a thin line. "They have eyes and ears everywhere. We can't let them know our plans, or they'll interfere." The crew of the universe worked tirelessly in the background, preparing the equipment necessary for the rescue. Spacesuits were checked, communication devices tested, and rations packed. On Europa, the stranded crew of the Galaxy huddled together on the alien beach, the wreckage of their ship casting a long shadow against the horizon. Lee, the youngest member, tried to rally the group. "The universe is coming for us," he said, his voice barely audible over the howling winds that swept across the icy landscape. Back on the universe, Floyd turned to the crew. "Prepare for landing. We're going in." The crew members exchanged determined glances, knowing the risks but ready to face them head-on. The universe descended towards Europa, shaking violently as it entered the moon's gravitational pull. "Steady," Captain Smith commanded, her hands firm on the controls. "We've trained for this." The landing was rough, jolting the crew as they touched down on the icy surface. "Keep your eyes open," Floyd instructed. "Europa is full of surprises." As they made their way to the Galaxy's crew, the ground beneath them groaned, a stark reminder of the moon's volatile nature. They moved quickly, navigating the treacherous terrain with practiced precision. Upon reaching the survivors, they wasted no time. Medical checks were performed, injuries tended to, and spirits lifted with the promise of return. "We're setting up for immediate departure," Floyd announced, his voice echoing off the icy walls. "Mount Zeus is our beacon. We leave at its first light." The crew, bolstered by the rescue team's efficiency, gathered their strength for the journey ahead. As they embarked on their return to the universe, the monoliths stood silent, sentinels to their struggle and testament to the indomitable human spirit. Stranded on Europa. The Galaxy lay stricken on the icy plains of Europa, its hull embedded in the jagged terrain. The crew, already battered by the hijacking and crash landing, now faced the challenge of adapting to their ship's unorthodox orientation. The corridors, designed for upright traversal, now presented a maze-like horizontal obstacle course. "Crew, gather round." Captain Smith's voice carried through the cargo bay-turned-makeshift camp. "We're in a tight spot, but we've got grit and ingenuity. Let's focus on righting this ship." Lee, the ship's biologist, secured her modified spacesuit. "Uprighting the Galaxy is our top priority. This ice is unstable, and we need to act before another quake hits." Second Officer Chang, his face still bearing the weight of Rosie's betrayal, nodded in agreement. "We have to work fast. The ice won't hold forever." The crew sprang into action, their movements a well-choreographed dance as they crafted anchors and pulleys from the ship's limited resources. Their unity in the face of adversity was a testament to their resilience. Meanwhile, on the alien shore, Rosie sat in solitary reflection. The toxic sea stretched before her, its stillness a stark contrast to the howling wind that served as a constant reminder of their isolation. Rosie's guilt weighed heavily upon her. She had never intended for her actions to lead to this dire situation. The hijacking, the crash, and the betrayal of her crewmates, it was a tangled web of her own making. As the crew labored, the ship groaned in response to their efforts. Inch by inch, the Galaxy began to rise from its icy grave. The crew's faces, illuminated by the glow of their suit lights, reflected a mixture of relief and sheer determination. Captain Smith sought out Rosie, his gaze intense but his tone measured. "Rosie, we need to understand what happened. Why did you sabotage the ship?" Rosie's eyes filled with tears as she met the captain's gaze. "Fear consumed me, Captain. I made a terrible mistake. The Bund promised they'd ensure my safety, that I'd make it out alive." The captain's stern expression softened marginally. "Rosie, your actions endangered all of us. But we won't dwell on that now. We have a long road ahead before we can even consider rescue." As the captain turned to leave, Rosie's heart sank. She knew the depth of her mistake and was determined to earn back the trust of her crew, no matter the challenges that lay ahead. The crew of the Galaxy pressed on, their differences momentarily set aside as they faced their collective struggle. Their ingenuity and resourcefulness shone as they crafted shelter and adapted to their new reality. As night descended on Europa, the crew huddled together, their suit lights casting an ethereal glow. They understood the road to rescue would be arduous and fraught with peril, but they also knew they were in it together. For now, that was enough. Unveiling Europas Secrets. As Dr. Heywood Floyd and his companions, Captain Laplace and Rolf van der Berg, explored the icy surface of Europa, they stumbled upon a remarkable sight. A wall of ice before them contained a sparkling substance that upon closer inspection was revealed to be diamond. The discovery was breathtaking, a treasure that could alter the course of human history. Their awe was short-lived as the ground beneath them trembled. Without warning, the diamond wall shifted, revealing an opening that led them into the heart of Europa. Inside, they found a chamber of wonders, with walls lined with the same diamond material, and a pool of liquid water at its center. From the depths of the pool, a figure emerged, resembling Floyd's grandson, Chris Dwight. The encounter was surreal, as Chris spoke of a new purpose given to him, a role in guiding Europa's evolution. Floyd, moved by the reunion and the profound changes that had occurred, realized that their journey had led them to a pivotal moment for both Europa and themselves. The chapter closes with Floyd feeling a surge of energy, a connection to the deeper mysteries of this moon. This connection was not just a feeling, but a tangible link that seemed to resonate through every cell in his body. As he looked at Chris, he saw a being who was both familiar and alien, a fusion of human and something else. The monolith, that enigmatic presence on the horizon, loomed larger in his mind, its secrets slowly unfolding like a lotus flower.